Step. We are live now.
Okay, now we are live.
Hello, guys.
And
Hello, everyone.
nobody's waiting. How dare they?
That's the first. That's the first in a long time.
Well,
I also did not remind everyone that we were like live in an hour. I did tell people earlier today that we were going live. I'm telling everyone now anyway.
Thank you guys for joining.
Oh, there are 8 people. How lovely!
Yay! We're a little chaotic scheduling this one this week. It's just us.
It's just us. We don't have a guest this week. I hope you still stick around.
We did reach out to people, and it was too hard. So you just have us. Hopefully,
the time zones and everything. Yeah, we've talked about our Christmas decoration. Oh, wait, this way.
Yes, I'm very excited about the fact that it snowed here, and so everything outside is beautiful, but only a couple of inches, and so it's not like a nightmare to get around. It's just like pretty every place, and I hope this is how the winter keeps going.
That's so nice. Hi, Laura. Hi. We do have a very full schedule today because we plan to talk about juniors and seniors, and then we are doing fantasy skating awards.
Yay!
Prizes. No prizes. Just
I've never been worse at fantasy skating in my life. This has been the worst year I've ever had.
I have not seen you at the top once.
I know. I used to be at the top of lists, and I'm down in like the trenches of like the 400s.
I missed both NHK and this week. Like both weeks, I was like really stressed out midweek about work and did not even manage to get my picks in on time. So that's how bad I was, is that I didn't even complete it.
Oh no. Hi Laura. Hi Melissa. Thanks so much for joining. Should we just get started because it's a full schedule?
Yeah.
People will come in. Okay. So let's talk about junior women. Very Japanese podium. In first place. Oh my god, I can't see the last name. In first place,
it's not a surprise.
Shimada. In second place, Kaoruko Wada, and Ami Nakai in third place.
Yeah, I feel like this was probably the podium we expected it to be. I mean, I maybe would have had Amy second rather than third going in, because obviously she has the triple axel, but it didn't quite work out how she wanted it to in the free. So I think this is a pretty expected podium.
Yeah, I was thinking, especially watching the short program and seeing everybody kind of, back to back doing quite similar content, then seeing the huge step up in just overall skating skills and package that was Mao and Kaoruko. And I wasn't expecting to feel it that strongly, having seen them like all in different junior Grand Prix, but I just had this sense that they had a level of just like speed and knee bend that was not quite as much in the other four. And so I don't know, it was interesting to realize that I always think of Mao as being, yes, very, very good in many, many ways, but not necessarily as being like the person who's in the lead because she's a great skater. Mm-hmm. But even seeing her after Kaoruko, who I had that kind of impression of, I really felt like she was doing a great job with her programs, that she was really, and that just that her basic skating skills are fantastic as well. So I want to give her that credit. Not that she needs any more credit while being so good, but I was very impressed with seeing her even in this great field.
Also, now that like Wicked has come out, doing Defying Gravity just like really kind of like elevates your music choices. Like it's just like, oh, she's doing Defying Gravity, other people do that, but then like Wicked comes out and it's like, oh yeah, but now you're gonna get a bit more attention for doing that.
That's great timing. Was that intentional?
I hope so, because I think it's very clever.
Yeah, I think Caitlin Weaver was paying attention.
Yeah,
we have to get her on sometime this year to ask her about her music choice successes. I feel like there have been some interesting, she's picked some interesting ones this year. So
I'm going to write that down. so we don't forget.
I've been trying. She's a
also-
busy person.
I also
That's
really
true.
like Kuriko doing Titanic. I think it really suits her. It's a really great program for her. Especially for those of us who like, I mean, of the field, she's the only kind of newbie. Obviously, Yihan kind of broke out this year, but she has previously been on the Junior Grand Prix before. But Kuriko kind of like, she only just came onto the junior scene this year, so it was a good introduction of kind of us seeing her first time as a skater. It's a great program.
Yeah, and I was really impressed with Yihan as well. I thought, I feel like I somehow maybe didn't watch the Junior Grand Prix that she was in as carefully. I was like, it's funny what people stick with you, or like when, who I had clear impressions of coming in. And I feel like this always happens to me, that there are people that I discover or rediscover at the final, because there's been I've watched so much skating between now and then that with very few exceptions, even great performances are like completely wiped out of my mind. So I feel like I was re-meeting her here, and I really enjoyed her.
Yeah, she's very technically proficient. I do think there's a bit of a debate going on about her expression when she's skating. I like, skaters who don't have as much expression when they're skating. I don't need somebody to smile all the time. I do need skaters to emote and get across like a point of a program. I do think she's still got a long way to go with that. But it's not a case of I need every skater to like smile through a program. I just need to know that you're telling a story and what kind of story you're trying to tell us.
I also remember a couple of years ago, I don't remember the skater's name, but they smiled the entire time during the program, but it felt like it was just like show smiling and also didn't fit the program at times. So like there has to be an emotion and it has to show in the face. But also I feel like that's something that's why I like when people age a bit and like are older as skaters, because I feel like that's something you usually learn with time.
Yeah.
I was thinking a lot about this with the junior ice dance, about nuance of expression and like how that develops over time. So anyway, we can talk about that when we get there. But it is often one of the things that takes a longer time to fully get there. And again, that's where I feel like we're getting to see Mao and Ami, for that matter, too, because we're seeing them be at a high level for so long. And the juniors, we're sort of getting to watch them develop that while they're in a space where it's those small nuances are going to be the difference between winning and not. So it's kind of cool to see that extra pressure that's put on the components as well within the juniors.
Yeah. I also think Stefania is a really good performer as well. I did find it interesting that while she was practicing quads in practice, she didn't go for it in the free skate. And I don't think, I mean, it's probably dependent on the day. She probably wasn't feeling it. It's interesting to know that that's the progress she's at, and that's what she's working on. I don't know if she ever rotated it in practice while she was there, but it's interesting to see that she's working on quads. I mean, obviously she's still very young, and I think you should be cautious. Obviously, like, I don't know what Mao's success rate is with her quad. I don't think it's that high. I think she's only rotated it a couple of times positively. If you can train it safely without causing injury, go for it. But I'd like to advise caution, because I don't like to see young kids break their bodies at such a young age.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like working on it when you're healthy and being able to start learning those rotations, learning the like the biomechanical, like the feeling of it when you're young and fearless, and learning new things is a like recent memory of, I sometimes feel like it can be harder to learn something new when you're older and you're further away from that, like acquiring new skills. So I think there is some reason for that, like keep trying, keep pushing while you're in that process of building tech. But I think it's the constant repetition that can be so damaging, and that could be true for triples as well as quads, but like, yeah, all of these things are more pressure on the body. So I'm not a doctor, I'm not an expert in any of that, but like in trying to understand it, it does seem like it's less, you know, do you try it or not, as much as it is like the pressure of putting it in competition, which implies a certain amount of routine drilling of it.
Yeah. There's a couple of juniors who are also frequently doing quads in training. And
I saw Sophie Jolene Van Veltzen's,
doing like a quad triple axel or whatever she did. Yeah. And while it's impressive, obviously, you have so many other things that you need to be working on. You have like, when you come out, and there are some skaters who come out and then do a quad and then are getting like 4s and 5s in PCS, and I'm like, work on your skating skills, become a full package, make sure you are also rotating your triples, and then come back and do the quads. Like, you have so much more other things to be working on to become a complete skater.
Ooh,
interesting.
Thank you for the statistic, Laura.
That's a nice statistic.
Mao has 6 out of 24 landed with positive GOE. That's what Laura
Are some of those nationals, or are they all international? Because I feel like she's
waiting for the response now.
Yeah, I do like asking questions to chat is not the best.
We are waiting for the response. Oh yes, okay. The response is yes.
Okay.
Yeah, but wasn't that a yes or no question, or was it?
Yeah, I asked like 2 questions. I said, are they all?
Sorry,
some of them national or all of them international? But yeah.
Lorraine's comment did make me laugh, and I do want to read it out, because well done, Mao, doing a wicked program before we are all bored of them in 2 years' time, because I feel like that's going to happen. Defying Gravity is the song you can skate to.
1 regional, 3 national, 2 international. I thought it was 2 international. That was the number I had in my head.
Okay.
I remember seeing Mao's quad a couple of times where it was counted under, but I thought it looked good, and so it's in that like maybe it was on a quarter, and that it had
she's had a few cues,
so it was negative GOE. But you know, she's not one of those people where I'm like, you're really just spinning this on the last bit of the rotation on the ice. It was when I see her technique and I saw her doing that quad toe, I was like, oh yeah, she's going for a quad toe in the way that a little bit closer to the way we see a lot of the men go for the quad toe, where it's like they're not relying entirely on the ability just to rotate really, really, really fast.
What annoys me sometimes is putting it in just every single time, when I think it's clear sometimes that it's not, she hasn't got it in training at that moment. Like, it can either end up being a downgrade or very clearly under, and I was like, you're not doing it properly in practice right now. It's clearly, like, it'll come back again and it'll go away again, and it'll come back again and it'll go away again. I feel like you should like change your layout depending on how things are going. But it tends to be that she starts off kind of slow in the season and it's not quite there, and then she gets it usually around like this time and Junior Worlds and stuff, and it usually is a lot closer like later on in the year. But yeah.
Anything else about junior women before we move on?
We haven't mentioned Yu Seong a lot. Before we mention everyone else, I think she's made a lot of improvement as a skater since she first came on the scene. Both her and her sister. I wouldn't call her programs this season particularly memorable, but you can see the development in her in terms of artistry.
Yeah, I found her very enjoyable to watch here, and I think she was maybe the skater that I was thinking about the most when I felt like I saw this sort of step up when we got to the Japanese women, and especially Karuka and Mao, because I was having this experience of like, oh, that was really nice. I really enjoyed that, and she seems like she's really improved a lot, and I was having that moment, and then I felt like I could see this like different gear of just the knee bend and the smoothness of skating that she doesn't quite have. But it's not that her skating is unpleasant. It was just in comparison, she's not at that same level.
Yep. Agreed.
I think
probably move on to senior.
Then we can move on to the next one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Who do we get
Okay.
next?
And the next one is senior women.
Oh, we're doing by discipline. Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Right.
I feel like it's a
That
nice
makes sense.
mix-up. It's a good choice, Lois.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so in gold we have Amber Glenn, in silver we have Moni Chiba, in bronze we have Kaori Sakamoto. I'm so glad this competition ended on such like a nice note because it was so kind of depressing after the short program. It's like
Ugh.
that was a day where like every discipline had done really, really well, and then the women came last, and it was like, oh no, there's flopping happening. I don't like this.
I was so worried for Amber after the short program when she had those couple of little mistakes and she came off and she said her back hurt. I was like,
I
oh
know.
no,
I
this
was like, oh
all starts
no.
falling apart. Oh no. And then she came out and did a great free skate and just, yeah. I have been telling people in my normal life as a gay American that they need to watch her and sending her hot to go exhibition to like everybody I know. So that's been a lot of fun. And I get to be like, and did you realize she just won like a major competition and.
First time
So,
an American woman's won it in 14 years. So, yeah.
yeah. So
Laura said it's funny how Monet said Amber is very welcome at JNets.
she's
I
a
love
good
that
luck charm
recurring
here,
joke.
apparently, too.
Yeah, I love that recurring joke of Amber and Japanese nationals.
Yeah. It does feel a little bit like Amber shouldn't have to go to US nationals now. Like
Yeah.
she's done it. She's good. She's already won Japanese nationals. That's good enough.
Exactly. She's just having such an incredible season, and like it's so nice. It's just like people who've supported Amber for so many years going, I know you have it, I know you can do it. For her to finally get it, like just to put it all together, it's just so much fun and joy to watch.
And Amber is someone who goes
kiss and cry moment. I just wanted to point that out because it was very pretty, cute, and yeah.
Yeah, they all did her finishing pose, and she was like, "You guys!" I love women supporting women, so it's adorable.
Yeah, that was so lovely, and I really felt like Amber has been someone for a really long time who's been very supportive of other skaters. Like I think about the relationship that she has with Isabeau, and just like someone who has, going out of her way to be there for other people, and so it's somebody that. Like, I'm really glad that she gets that appreciation back. And I feel like, Kaori is another person who is, sort of no matter where she is, she's always very like giving to the other skaters around her. And so, yeah, I just feel like they make such great leaders for the sport.
Yeah. Like I was just thinking in my head of I can't remember who was performing at nationals, like US nationals. When I remember this happening, they had a camera in the green room, and I remember somebody falling, and like Amber reacting like, "Oh no!" Like she was like so like wanting her other competitors to do well, and it's just like it's so lovely to see. And like I know with the way Kaori works that her entire priority this year is just getting 3 spots for Japan at the Olympics. Like she doesn't personally care where she comes as long as Japan get 3 spots. that's her entire priority.
Yes,
exactly.
It is
Amber
true. Whenever
Kaori
Amber and Kaori are sharing, the vibes will be excellent. Yes,
exactly.
I also was really happy for Monet here to be able to do so well. I still feel like her free skate was probably my least favorite of the free skates. And as I was thinking about this, it's the one that feels the most juniorish to me. And it's funny that I had this feeling like, because there's been a lot of attention to Monet's short program and that she's skating to The Last Dance and that she's doing it in too young of a way and that she's not like hasn't been to the club. And I'm like, it doesn't bother me. It's
no,
like,
yeah, I like
it's it gives me I'm dancing in my bedroom slippers vibe, not I'm at the club vibe, and that's fine. Like it,
yeah, exactly.
it's it's sweet and joyful. So like I don't feel like it needs to be like somehow, you know, made more mature for that program to work for me. I don't, it's not that I dislike her free skate. I just feel like it feels generic in a field that otherwise is full of very strong and very individual performances. And so I think that she is not the most she's not always like the skater, especially in this field, who's like the biggest and most energetic. And so I was feeling a little bit like that was getting a bit lost. And so I don't know. It's interesting to think about like where stylistically where she should go. But I would love to see her maybe do something that would be a piano piece, like a true classical piano, not you know, with that takes sort of some nuance of interpretation, because I think she could do the subtlety of something like that really well, the kind of thing that makes us kind of like slow down and focus and look at her, rather than try to do something that is like big and emotional and competes with the other skaters who exist in that kind of big program so well. So I think sometimes I end up falling into the trap of seeing her as like a Satoko, and wanting the kinds of programs for her that Satoko had early in her career, which is not, that's Monet's her own person, but like I do kind of have a little bit of that, like that softness and delicacy that is with a core of strength that then draws you in to her.
Yeah, I feel like in this women's field, she has the least defined identity as a skater at this point. Everyone else had such like a clear view of the programs they were putting across and the interpretations doing. I absolutely adore Hannah's 2 sets of programs this year. I think they are some of the best choices. Even though she's not getting the highest results, she's not necessarily coming away with medals. She has such like a clear identity in her programs, and she has other years as well. And again, like I was watching Wakaba's free skate, and I just thought, oh my god, this is just, it's so beautiful. It's so, she's so in it, and she knows exactly what she's doing and interpreting. And I know some people don't love Kaori's programs this year. I do. I think they're a great challenge for her. I think she performs them very well. Obviously, they didn't go the best they could have possibly gone here. I mean, she had a comeback in the free skate that was great, but I think the programs are good for her, and she still has an identity in them. I just feel like, especially in that free skate for Monet, that she's just not quite connecting and quite showing who she is as a person. And I'm not sure she quite fully knows who she is as a performer yet. So she's not just found that program that switches it all on, that just connects with everyone.
Well, I think it's also if for Hannah, who doesn't have maybe as good sort of flowy balletic skating, she's had to develop other strengths and another kind of identity in her skating. And I think she's had smart choreographers, and she's, you know, pushed herself in that direction in a way, you know, even going back to her doing like Dog Days Are Over, like she's sort of always had that little bit of that different feeling.
Yeah.
And I think Monet, because she can fit into the more of a traditional mold, we're only now just sort of starting to see what it looks like for her to do other kinds of things, and she's still figuring that out. But I wanted to say that I thought Wakaba did really well here, even despite the, you know, having that fall, which in this field could, you know, be enough to totally knock you down in the short program. I loved her step sequence in the short program. I thought that she had this moment. Yes, I thought so. And I love her free skate too. But I had this moment watching it where I was like, oh, this is when people would, you know, might have, you know, been a little like, well, she's fast, but does she really have anything else in her piece? Yeah, she's not really like living the music. She's just kind of skating element to element. I'm like, I was watching that. I was like, I just want to put that step sequence like in front of all the judges and be like, is this not interpretation?
I never will understand judging of Wakaba. It will never make any sense to me. It's just like, what do the public see that the judges don't? I don't I don't get it.
Yeah. No, I think it's always, there are times when I can be like, yeah, like she's had some programs where it seemed like she was a little bit disconnected from them until maybe the last 2 or 3 elements of the free skate where she kind of came alive, and maybe that's the part we remember from those emotional performances. But I don't feel that way about these performances and these programs. So I think it's time for her to start getting that like leading contender PCS, please.
Agreed. Agreed. I will always be mad about how she was scored at the Olympics. I don't think I'll ever be over that. It's just a shame.
I was also really sorry for Reno here because she is so wonderful, but it just, you can't have that error. And she's now had so many mistakes in her short program that I think
it's such a shame. Because I think she did it clean last year, because I think she kept that same program from last year, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe I don't remember if she kept both of them or just one of them. But I remember her occasionally making problems in the short program last year, but I swear she did it clean once, and it was perfect. It was the most amazing thing ever. But like every single time she does it this year, there's always something that happens. Just like, no, we just want to see you thrive. We don't want to see you have to do a comeback skate in the free again.
Do you think that this means that she's not really in contention for the world's team?
I've been looking at the criteria and people laying out stuff like that, and based on how everyone else has performed, I don't think she is. Unless she like.
Sorry, I just noticed your cat. I'm not laughing.
Yeah, she's been wandering around. She's just like staring at us. Yeah.
Sorry,
like,
I didn't want to interrupt you.
She's just standing on the table. But yeah, based on the criteria, unless she like comes first or second at nationals, I don't think it will be happening. But you never know. She might get a 4-continent spot if she does well, but I think worlds would be difficult.
Yeah, I mean, I think she absolutely is in that space where she deserves all of the development opportunities that she can get, but is not the skater that you want to put all of your eggs, in that basket for the Olympic spots. Which is always hard because you never know. Somebody who's been consistent up to this point could end up not, so it's like there's no guarantees, but like to the degree that we can predict anything from the season, this is a number of errors in a row.
Yeah, and you don't want to be putting somebody who statistically makes short program errors at Worlds on Olympic year, because it's not the recipe for success.
Yeah, I mean, based on this, I would put, if this was Japanese nationals, I'd put Kaori and Monet on the team, and then I would have a hard choice between Hana and Wakaba, depending.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would just depend on who does better at nationals.
Yeah,
at this point, because Wakaba is prone to occasionally making mistakes in the short. Hana might, but it doesn't affect as much usually.
Yeah.
So yeah,
and knock on wood, we haven't seen either of them have any programs where they've fallen apart, and they both in the past have had that that kind of disaster free skate at some point, and it seems like they're both in very good shape, very well trained at this point. So
I mean, Rinka's also not had the worst season, and Rion's not had the worst season either. I mean, who knows how Japanese nationals is going to go? It's always a bloodbath.
I know. Yeah. This was a lovely
preview. My cat did a disappearing trick. She's now like gone behind the curtain. She's in the window now.
She made me laugh so much because she was posing there.
She was staring at the camera. She's like, "What's going on?"
Very cute. Anything else? Any more comments on the senior women before we move on to
next category? I love them.
Amber's short program is growing on me. I was like, I'm glad she's doing so well, but I'm not sure about this program. And I think,
I feel like it's settling in now.
Yeah, something I think she's giving like different kinds of facial expressions all throughout it, which makes the kind of, I'm just going to say, odd music work better for me, because I felt like there's more of a through line and not just a I am fierce, I land my jumps like energy that I was getting from it at the beginning of the season. So
yeah, agreed.
That's my only other comment, just in that basically whatever Caitlin chooses, by the time that I will have been Stockholm syndrome by this point, I'm decided that they were all good choices after all, even the ones that I doubted at the beginning of the season.
It's going to be so interesting next season, or like next off season, when the song choices are starting to come in, and we will be like, it's Olympics.
It's Olympics. It's Olympics. This is the year you have to pick the good stuff.
I feel like on the live stream, we're going to be like, you picked this one for the Olympics.
The first like 10 things that come out, they're all going to be Warhorse, and we're just going to want to kill ourselves. We're just like, why?
Yes.
Why?
Anybody who skates to something that is has never been skated to before in the Olympics, you automatically are getting like extra points from me in my personal fan scoring of your performance. Just not that is what they're going for, but really it's get some extra points.
Agreed.
Ice dance, rhythm dance need not apply though. They
all no, don't. I'm dreading it. I'm dreading it.
What was it again? I forgot.
21st century, whatever.
Dance party.
TikTok dancing. Freaking ridiculous.
That's weird.
Oh my god, Warhorses and all the Italian music. How many people are going to do like La Strada or something? Godfather and this, that, and the other.
Okay.
Just Mambo Italiano.
Can we? I would like to make, with the exception for Italian pairs and how I have very cheesy programs for them already all picked out in my head. I think that if people wanted to go Italian, they need to do like, please go classy Italian. If you are not Italian, if you are not Italian, you can do like La Traviata. Great. Like go, I'll even, go as far as like Cinema Paradiso, like, you go classy Italian. I'm not sure I count Andrea Bocelli as classy Italian.
Depends on the music. Depends on the music.
I think that might like pop opera Italian singers, I think, fall in my category of if you're an Italian, I will put up with it. If you're not an Italian, I think I would like to not see any more programs to Cicero.
Oh god, I'm so sick of that music.
So anyway, that's just, I'm gonna be very judgmental, clearly, but this is something that I particularly have thoughts about, but then I'm making a giant caveat for the Italian pairs who can all skate to the cheesiest, most Italian thing ever, and I will be fine with it.
I just know I'm gonna love whatever Laurinaki Goodman chooses. So.
Yes.
Let's go to the next category then? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, we have junior men.
Junior men. Yes. Anna, would you?
Sure. So gold, speaking of Cicero, we have Jacob Sanchez. Silver, we have Minkyu Seo, and bronze, we have Rio Nakata. So
poor Rio. Interesting. I was gonna say, poor Rio. I know he was so upset coming from.
I was going to comment on that. I was like, who was backstage? Chloe was backstage for us, and she was like, he can't talk to anybody right now. He's crying so much.
Like, bless his heart.
Yeah, I want to just be like, it's okay. You still are really good. You still got bronze. You're gonna be fine.
I know.
I understand where that's coming from, but this was a hard one. I feel like, especially this free skate, a lot of the men really were struggling, and I was feeling very sorry for and at the moment I'm having a complete brain collapse. Help me, from New Zealand.
Yanhao?
Yanhao. Yeah.
Yeah, he looked like a
Um,
deer in the headlights. It looked like the nerves just completely like overran him.
yeah. Like those moments where you like
Laura,
suddenly
that is
think,
the most ironic comment, that Jacob is the consistency king, because prior to this year he was not. It was like
exactly, that's what I was thinking. Like, where did
he
this
would come out with the
consistency come
best short
from?
programs and then completely melt down in the free. Like, and like I think it was at the Youth Olympics that he was first off for the short program and then dropped like fifth. Like this year, consistency king, absolutely.
He's starting to remind me of Camden Pulkinen in like
Especially in the music
when
choice.
he was finishing up his junior career and moving into seniors, and I was so excited for him. I mean, I still love Camden, but like there was this point where I was like, oh, this is all coming together, and they have a similar sort of both very artistic but also kind of muscular sort of skating, and so I was seeing this connection there. But I'm thrilled for Jacob doing so well here and for the season that he's had. I really like, honestly, if I was picking like, I don't know if I don't think he's senior eligible.
He's done a senior competition.
Is
he's
he?
done
yeah,
he won one of the challenges that was a bit of a hot mess.
Oh yeah.
Don't remember which one it was, but he did win a challenger. I can't remember if it was Tallinn. It might have been Tallinn.
Yes, it's all coming back to me.
But he is low key my third pick for Worlds.
Yes, that's what I was
really
gonna say.
Yeah.
At this point, I mean, at this point, he would be for me as well. Though I would feel bad for knocking off either. Like that would mean either one of Andrew or Jason would not get to go, and I would feel bad for knocking one or the other of them. But at this point, it would be Jason, and that's tough. Yeah, but it's. I mean, that's where they are.
Before nationals, my low key pick for the Worlds team is Ilya, Torgs, and Jacob. That is low key my Worlds team.
Yeah, I mean, I hope that Jason.
I don't want to put that pressure on Jacob though, because I feel like there's a lot of pressure to put on him. But he has been very consistent. I know he doesn't have the quads, but
is he going to compete at senior nationals? I wonder.
That is something I can look at because I do have the post up.
I mean, I really hope that Jason comes back trained, having figured out his jumps and being, ready to be the Jason of last year. I would love if that's the case, but because I think he still has a higher ceiling. A clean Jason is going to place better.
Yeah, 100%.
But yeah.
Until I've seen you rotate a triple axel, I'm not confident.
Yeah. I love Mancuso. I'm always happy to see him. I think his singing in the rain is very charming. And I am happy, just continue to be happy for his growth and becoming sort of a consistent top placement here.
I do get a bit worried about how his falls look sometimes, because I think the fall he had in the short program, he almost went crashing into the boards again. Did that a couple of times during the Junior Grand Prix. I'm like, I'm not enjoying this, because I think he hit his head almost in the Junior Grand Prix as well. I'm like, please stop doing that, because it's making me very nervous.
Yeah.
But that's just a technique thing. You just need to kind of alter something slightly that you don't go crashing into the boards when you land.
I also really enjoy Sena Takahashi. He's didn't do as well here as he'd had earlier in the Grand Prix, but it was
it was a good comeback free.
Yes, it was a great comeback free, and there's a sort of lightness and joy to his skating that just I find very charming. He does still seem young, but that's okay. He makes me very happy to keep watching him.
I feel like while the Greatest Showman was kind of good in his first competition, it's like, this is me, and then it kind of you get to the Junior Grand Prix final, like, oh, it's this cursed music again.
I will admit that I did not watch the junior men's short program, so my sense of everybody right now is only based on their free skates, because I could not tell you what anyone had skated to in their short programs, not having watched it since.
Yeah, I agree with
So
Miriam.
mea culpa, did not watch every single event, but I do have a soft spot for a Four Seasons program, and I think can work really well for a junior, and I thought he did very nicely in his free skate.
Yeah, as Miriam says here, disappointed for Lucas. Obviously, he broke his blade in practice for the free skate. It's so unfortunate. Like it just he even basic general skating he was struggling with in that free. So the damage control he did to just make it through that program is something to be admired. Obviously, he's incredibly disappointed, but as I was saying in the group chat when we were discussing it with the Patreon, which you can join if you join our Patreon, that like I almost feel like it's less demoralizing knowing that you did everything you could despite other circumstances, rather than coming out and having like a flop skate or whatever. Like that was something that was out of his control, and he did the best he could with it. But yeah, it's an incredible feat for him to make the final in the first place. Obviously, he made it because one of the Junior Grand Prix that he was in was a flop fest, and it was like, oh my god, he just won. But it's great to see the progress of Slovakia in men's skating. So obviously, Adam made it last year, and Lucas made it this year, and Adam was, I think, first alternate this year. So they're doing great.
Yeah.
Any more standouts for anything to talk about for junior men?
I loved hearing about the friendship between Jacob and Rio. That was adorable. I loved like he gave me his necklace that he wore at the final last year, and this is like, oh, you are adorable. Just be besties forever.
That's cute.
It was very
I think we talked about. Did we talk about everything? Moving on to seniors.
Yeah,
Okay.
sure.
So in first place we have Ilya Malinin. In second place Yumaga Kageyama, and then third place Shun Sato. That's the podium.
I think that is the podium we kind of expected going in. Whether it is the skates we expected is another matter entirely. It was a bit of a flop fest. Nobody was clean. Yeah. I swear there's a lot of debate going on about Ilya right now.
I asked you because I saw.
You talked to me about this before we started, and you were like,
I saw an interview where he said he felt like he was underscored. How do you feel about that? Do you feel he was underscored?
Every single one of your quads was marked under rotated. How were you underscored? I think it's debatable about the quad axle, because I don't think Ilya's ever under rotated an axle in his life. Maybe since he was a junior. But I mean, it was an incredibly ambitious layout. You didn't deliver it. You still won.
Yeah.
Ta-da! Like, I mean, I don't know why there's a discussion about scoring.
No, and I wonder how much of that is him versus just the people around him, because when I see Ari talking about this, that he's like that like the powers that be are trying to hold him down. I'm like, Ari, you are you are the powers that be. So
yep.
And also you do a layout like this because you're trying to figure out what happens when you do a layout like that. Like this is the first time we're seeing him try to do this 7 quad free, which is incredible. It's incredible that he can even consider doing this, and it didn't deliver today, and that's okay.
That's fine. That's expected.
And it also makes sense that in a that was technically challenging, everything else might not be at your best either. It's not saying that you're not capable of doing that. It's just, I feel like the same thing happened when Nathan was first trying his 6 quad free, that it was messy at first.
There was no transitions in it whatsoever.
Right. And then he builds on it. And so I'm like, okay, if he wants to be this incredible thing at the Olympics, like not just winning, but winning by doing this, this feat.
Crazy layout.
Okay. He's starting to build towards it. That's okay by me, but he shouldn't expect to have, perfect scores every time along the way.
Exactly. Like, are you just offended because you had a lower technical score than Shun? Because yeah, you did. I mean, like, you got hammered in the under rotations, which that's what the technical panel saw on the day. You did not have a great PCS because it wasn't a clean skate. Like,
yeah,
that's stuff to build on. You're not going to get it, like the top scores every time. Like, I'm pretty sure a couple of judges gave you 10s in PCS in the short, which is a choice, but like, you can't complain about scoring when you're getting that.
Yeah, I feel like I'm going to need to keep defending this. I like Ilya. I like Ilya's programs. I like what
his programs are so good.
I like what he's doing for the sport, both artistically and technically. I just don't think that we therefore need to, crown him the king before he even steps on the ice, which is what it seems like.
Yep.
Anyway.
And like,
I didn't want to turn this negative. I was just curious.
I mean, I don't even think it's negative. It's just, this is the noise that's surrounding the event at this point, and it's just like, we can go to the other noise that was surrounding the event, which was the booing when Misha got his scores after the free skate, and I do think he should have been ahead of Grassel.
Yeah.
So yeah, I will. I do think he should have been ahead of Grassel. I know it was only like negligible, like it was like a point or so, but Misha is also pushing the sport technically. He is not quite there in terms of performance and PCS and those things yet. Fair enough. But I would rather watch Misha's technique over Grassel's any day of the week. So yeah. I think he was a little bit robbed.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's all fine. People can have passionate opinions in favor of people that they like, and everybody's going to have those, and the managers included. But like, I do think that there's a certain kind of like sore winner attitude that can feel more frustrating to come from somebody who's in that position than if he had ended up losing. Then I would have felt like a little less, felt like that was made more sense. Because I don't think that Ilya is like, I think Ilya is really respectful toward the other skaters, and that this is about the judging, which is fair. I'm always like, yes, let's criticize the judges and the system and not the skaters. But it does get kind of turned into this thing where it becomes about like Yuma versus Ilya. And it's, again, I don't think that's a particularly helpful frame, just because we're so eager to have a rivalry, another Nathan and Yuzu fight. It's I felt like the Nathan and Yuzu argument did a disservice to both of them, and trying to set, like, whenever we try to set
they got sick of it.
Yeah. I mean, wouldn't, nobody becomes a figure skater because they want to be seen as only an athlete or only an artist. So it's like, if you're, as a fan, if you start putting people into those boxes, it's not like, yeah. Anyway.
I mean, Yuma obviously has stuff to work on because he keeps making mistakes.
Yeah.
Shun, I mean, I was just happy at one point that he'd gone for the quad Lutz, because from what I was seeing from practice notes, he was popping it all the time. So I was like, oh, if you fall on it, that's fine. as long as it's there, just don't pop it, because at this point it's better to go for the jump and fall on it than it is to pop it. Even though I don't love that that's the method in skating that you have to use, because I don't love programs with falls, but
yeah,
just score is better for you. So this, I mean, it wasn't a great competition for anyone, and obviously we haven't mentioned Kevin, but it's good that, I mean, his skates did not go well, but it's good that he seemed to have a better mindset than he'd been having a year ago, because he was completely checked out when he made mistakes a year ago, and he seemed to really appreciate and enjoy the crowd.
Yeah.
And it didn't matter what he did, he was still going to have fun and still going to be appreciative of, the situation he was in. So
totally. And I'm much happier seeing him be a person. Like, everyone can have a bad skate. It doesn't seem like it is a bad skate becomes the whole story for him. And that is really good for him. I'm very glad.
Yeah.
I would like to say, as my last thought on men, because I don't really have any thoughts on Grassel, is wait, sorry, I was going to say this, and then that reminded me about 3 different thoughts that I do have. One, I think Grassel's new composed for him short program that's like, I'm right and I've never done anything wrong ever.
The lyrics, amazing.
Ellie's dying, but yeah. It's very on the nose. 2 on the nose.
Yeah. Sorry, this is. I'm like, clearly I try to be very, positive toward everyone, and this is like, Grassel's attitude is bringing. He's like, it's for my haters. I'm like, you are turning me into the hater.
You're turning me into a hater now.
I feel so
hard
bad
to find things to like about it.
I feel so bad because he has been nothing but kind and nice to us before everything happened. He was so sweet always. Like,
always.
Everybody loved him. And now it's like, do you want me to hate you?
I don't think he's a bad person. This is what's so annoying. It's just like, you're not a bad person.
No.
Own your shit. Like, you fucked up. You fucked up in other ways as well. You didn't just fuck up with the not putting your thing in with the tests. You chose to go to Ettore. You chose to go to Russia. And
the fact that he doesn't understand
the Italian Federation for supporting him in doing that. The Italian Federation should have never allowed him to do that.
No.
That was a PR freaking nightmare. Like, why would you make that choice? It didn't make your skating better. I mean, you weren't there for very long, but it didn't help. So there was no winning in that situation. You ended up missing doping tests because you changed your location like 3 times in a year. Own your shit. You don't have to be like, oh, shout out to my haters. Like,
if he would take responsibility, people would love him again. Like, I remember with Kevin, there was a moment when people were like,
no, there's still a lot to be said around Kevin. People are still not happy with that. But
like, kind of, people are more kind to him again.
Sympathetic. People are a bit more sympathetic to Kevin now after hearing his issues, and like, also Kevin's always been lovely to us as well. Like, and this is not us showing favoritism or anything, but just like the interactions we've had with those skaters have been good. But like, there are things that you do that you should take responsibility for and not just pretend like you're a victim.
Yeah.
And
if you I mean,
not even, aside from the off-ice stuff, people are not gonna love watching you because of your technique. And I get that you missed a year on the ice. I get that. And you came back with a new quad, and I don't know how you did that when you didn't have ice for a year. But I mean, they're barely quads as it is. A lot of the rotation is being done on the ice. And they're not very aesthetically pleasing to look at. Aside from that, a lot of the criticism I've seen of the free skate is that you are doing a ballet free skate and you are not pointing your freaking feet.
Yeah. I mean, it's doing a ballet free skate in a way that's disrespectful to ballet, which is not that. And again, skates don't point. There's only so much pointing you can do. Like, everything, it always has to be a translation onto the ice. But
but you can tell
a translation that is showing an understanding of the thing that you're translating, or are you making a translation of it in a way that is like,
the fact that so many people don't even realize it's a Billy Elliot free skate is a problem. A lot of people are like, what is this music cut? What are you doing here? What are we supposed to be watching? Like,
also,
I mean,
Billy
if you read the
Elliot's
thing before you start,
like 11, the whole thing. And I'm also going to be just the fact that I'm probably going to have to watch this program knowing my luck, be back-to-back and possibly beating Dennis's ballet program at
Oh no,
Europeans
don't say that.
is like, I'm already so stressed about that. But I will say that at Latvian Nationals, which is not a high-scoring nationals, Dennis outscored both Grassel and Kevin. So
Great, amazing.
I was like, good job. that was your
also like to get away from like criticizing the skater. A lot of this also goes on the judges and the technical panel, in that Daniel should have never been in the final in the first place, because he went through 2 Grand Prix not getting any technical calls on his jumps, when we all know the technical calls were there and should have been made, and they were made in the final, thank God. But he wouldn't have got to the final in the first place if he had been scored correctly.
No, that inconsistency is. Yeah. Okay, my last point about men, which was the thing I was going to say before I got distracted, was that I really like Ilya's new free skate costume, and I really hate his new short program costume.
I do not. I mean, everyone hates the short program costume, I think. Maybe his fans are defending it. I don't know. But I've seen the majority of people not like that short program costume. I liked the original one, with the fake hoodie. That was way better. I prefer the original free skate costume. I'm not loving like the skeleton thing at the back. I feel like that doesn't associate with the vampire. But
that's true. That's
cool.
true. I was thinking about.
At.
Yeah,
it's cool to look at, but I just like, it reminds me of Charlene Guinard's free dance costume from a couple of seasons back, when they had their dark romance program, and I just don't understand how the skeleton relates to being a vampire. I liked the blood-stained shirt a lot more.
I think the first version goes with this program better, for sure. I just like
aesthetically being made, it looks, more highbrow. But yeah.
Anyway, needing to end on.
We can move on. We can move on to less contentious.
Can we say something positive about men before we move on? What was your favorite part about men? About men. What senior men?
Shun on the podium. I mean, I'm a big Shun fan. So I mean, obviously, we're still not there with 100 in the short, because the short wasn't great. Oh my god! But, like, Misha putting both of those massive cuddly toys on the plane home in their own seats just made me so happy. It's so funny.
I need somebody to answer this for us. If you get a giant cuddly toy and you bring it home on your flight from the Grand Prix, do you have to buy your own ticket for that? And because the federation is paying to send the skater and their coach.
Based on Ivan saying like thank you to Turkish Airlines or whatever, I feel like they didn't pay for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like they probably just had a couple of spare seats and they were like, put them there. Yeah. But yeah, I would love to know how often
luggage. Yeah.
Also, like, he also has
Kevin's gala was the highlight.
I didn't watch the exhibition, so I can't comment. But also the fact that Misha also has to put a massive panda costume in his luggage as well, because that's his gala. It's so funny. Oh my god,
that's so much luggage.
I don't know how people are traveling with that. Like I was thinking the other week about
the chipmunk heads,
Diana Davis and Gleb Smoke, how they had like the chipmunks in China. Like, how the hell did you get those costumes to China? Oh my god, it's so funny.
Yeah, I guess you have to watch the gala now, Lois.
I was watching the Grand Prix. The other Grand Prix, the Formula One Grand Prix, not our Grand Prix.
Every time I Google Grand Prix, that always comes up first.
It comes up Formula One instead. Yeah, it would do.
And then I'm like,
yay,
skating. Okay, next category.
Yeah.
Okay.
Away from the contentious. I think we're into pairs. Junior pairs. There's nothing that contentious about junior pairs.
Lois, this is your job now.
Oh, it's my job. Gold, oh god, you're making me do Chinese names. Gold, we have Jiuxun Zhang and Yihang Chuang. Silver, we have Olivia Flores and Luke Wang. And in bronze, we have Jasmine DeRoche and Kieran Thrasher.
I was happy with this podium.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all knew the Chinese team were going to win going in. Their technical level is vastly ahead of everyone else. Yeah. Otherwise, I mean, I do think there are still things that Liv and Luke need to clean up, but it was a lot better than the Junior Grand Prix. They were a lot more cohesive here.
Yeah, I would say that I really hope before they go into senior, I was going to say this for both Liv and Luke and for Jasmine and Kieran, they give this they're very special teams. They're teams that actually communicate with something with the audience, with each other. We have to kind of have a little bit of the sense of them as people, like definitely with Liv and Luke because they have big personalities. But I was saying that having seeing Jasmine and Kieran this year and last year, that they give this very mature approach to their skating on a performance level. Not that it's like incredibly complicated or sophisticated or something, but just like I feel like they have presence on the ice in a way that sometimes juniors don't. And so I really want them to have the level of technical elements to be able to back that up and be able to move into that, into those senior spots, into what is now a harder senior field. So their teams, I would say for both of them, they're teams that I've been kind of following and rooting for in different ways and hoping that they're going to kind of figure out how to keep pulling it all together and making that, that next level of transition. So I'm happy for them to be on the podium here, though I think there's still some ways to go in terms of that technical side.
Yeah, I will say 2 of my favorite programs in this competition were not on the podium. Agreeing with Johnny here that Telemac and Coulon, their free skate was so great. I love concept of her being like a doll or whatever. It's a shame that I think he had like a fractured foot between the Junior Grand Prix and the final, but you wouldn't be able to tell if you hadn't known that. Just like they did so well considering obviously they'd had some setbacks, and they're so fun to watch and they were so beloved by the crowd, the home crowd. It was such a moment, and they obviously were just like living up every second of it. I also really love Quattrocchi and Damaris's free skate. I think it's very kind of on like picky when you're doing like Harry Styles and Sign of the Times. I think sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, and sometimes it's just kind of like I'm picking this because it's a popular song. But I think they have a really well composed free skate and they're very into it and into the performance. And they never thought they were going to make this final, but they've risen to the occasion. Even though they came sixth, they've outdone what they probably thought they were going to do. Like really, really great potential as a team. So yeah, really looking forward to the development of the young Canadian pairs, because obviously we were missing 2 of them who were in the final this year, like last year, not like from injury this year. So yeah, it's going to be really interesting
for sure. And I was sorry to I jumped straight over talking about Zhang and Huang to talk about the silver and bronze because I had more to say than you were great, good job. But I am really excited about this team, and I please with all of the mess of Chinese pairs, please stay healthy, stay together. They could be such a great. I mean, they are already a great part of the scene on the junior level, and they could really, I think, continue to
it'll be interesting because obviously it doesn't look like China's going to have any presence at Senior Worlds. Yeah. So, and these 2 are going to move up to senior next year, and we just had the announcement officially from Wenjing that she's doing a comeback for Milan. Although I mean, she didn't confirm her partner. We do have an ISU bio, or an ISU profile of her and her new partner, who I'm not overly impressed by from what I've seen and heard. So it's going to be interesting to see domestically who does better during the summer, who gets sent to the Olympic qualifying competition. I would obviously send these two based on what I know of them. At this point, I think they would be the best shot at getting the spot.
Yeah.
So it's going to be really interesting to see how that develops over the next year.
And they're not senior eligible at this point.
Not this year, no.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah.
I also wanted to say that I thought that Say and Lucas are looking much stronger overall.
Yep.
I thought that their twist looked pretty good here, and that I know they're still in the double twist territory, but was starting to look a lot better. Their throw is still really small, and I was wondering kind of like why. Yeah, because I feel like it's much more common that we see even teams moving from, both having been single skaters go for like be able to do a pretty like big double very quickly and then try to turn that into a triple. This like very small, even I think under rotated here triple throw was it anyway.
Like I think it was I can't remember. I think it was Ted who said it's more like a twist technique than an actual throw technique on the throw, and that's so odd. Like I've never seen a throw like it, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
I hope they're able to like sort out that technique and create a proper throw, because I feel like that's the one piece that's really missing right now. Obviously, they are able to get good results based on the fact that they have very strong solo jumps and side by side jumps. So yeah, it's just about getting all the pairs elements up to their level, and they are doing that slowly. But
yeah, I wonder how much time they're spending in Canada at this point versus in Japan, because I think that that's been a big piece of their of their development, getting time with pair coaches to work on the big elements. But their skating skills, and I think including their pair skills, are really they already started from such a strong background of skating skills and similar level that I feel like that's always the way I feel like with these Japanese pair teams that come together, and the dance too to some degree, but like I feel like with these pair teams, even if when their elements are not at that level, it's not just the jumps, it's that their like basic skill level is often much better than the skaters that we might see be at a similar pairs level with them. So it really makes them a lot of fun to watch.
Agreed. It's also interesting just to see like in this stage of development how different teams have different like focuses and different like things that they're good at. It's interesting to see at this stage, like not everyone is on the same level, but everyone's working on stuff.
Back outside jet spirals is not anybody's favorite thing to do as a junior.
Jet spirals in general for a lot of teams. It's like I make this sad joke about British pairs and that only Anna and Luke are capable of doing a death spiral with levels.
I mean, I will I say as a person who is attempting to learn how to do this, that it is not actually that easy because I'm gonna take my like minuscule baby pair knowledge and try to translate this into much higher level things. But in my program, we do a back pivot figure, which is like my partner is in like a back outside spiral going around, so it doesn't have to get into that like leaned back position, but it is the same edge. And it's really hard to figure out how to get the tension right on that edge, like all the way around. Even with an easier position, it is much easier to get the tension on like a forward inside edge, which again, we're not down in death spiral territory on either of these things, but just from those two edges, I can really know how much more practice and nuance it takes to be able to feel exactly where you need to be to get like through every piece of that to build the right tension that lets it still have tension by the time you're on rotation too.
And death spirals can go wrong even at the highest level with the most experience, whatever, because like I was watching Golden Spin off and on when the Grand Prix wasn't on this weekend, and the Kovalevs completely lost their death spiral. I think he lost his pivot and then she fell and they both fell. It was a mess. And if that hadn't happened, they would have probably finished 4th rather than 6th. So, just losing like an element like that is like so detrimental to your score.
Yeah. Shout out to Yulia and Ikel for winning Golden Spin pairs.
Yes, they did great.
Did we talk about Rebecca and Filippo yet?
Well, we're still
wait,
technically
No,
on
because
juniors.
we're on juniors.
Sorry.
We can move on.
We should move to seniors though.
We can move on to seniors now, though.
I wanted to say, did we talk about Julia and Simon? Did we talk about them?
Yeah, I said they're Sign of the Times program, but yeah, they're
Sorry. I didn't want to miss anybody out before we moved on.
They're a very fun up and coming team, and I look forward to see them develop.
Then we should definitely move on to seniors now. Anna.
Yeah.
This is your job.
So we had Minerva, Fabian Hassa, and Nikita Volodin as our winners here. Riku Mura, Richi Kihara as silver, and Anastasia Metalkina and Luca Barilava as bronze. So again, I think not unexpected that this could be the case. This is now Minerva and Nikita have second Grand Prix final victory in a row here. So yay, very exciting. And there was some messy mistakes in, I feel like, some of the things in the short well, actually, I guess in both programs, but like no disasters, but just I'm thinking about like Niccolo Macci messing up one of his jumps that seemed to really throw them off for their whole
and he
program.
Gets so angry when he messes up as well. Like, I think he was, if I remember correctly, he was very mad in the Kiss and Cry, not Kiss and Cry, the mix zone afterwards.
Well, that's typical of him.
Yes, it is.
That he gets very angry.
Sarah tried to bring him down.
Which, I'm, whatever. It's not my place to judge their relationship. I feel like Sarah has to do a lot of emotional labor to manage his emotions.
But... I mean, there's probably reasons why they are no longer a couple. But yeah, I've said this a million times, but I adore Minerva and Nikita's programs this year, and I think they're the best proper programs, and they are my ones to beat for Worlds, which this just continues that vibe.
For sure.
Things are obviously still a bit messy for Riku and Mayuichi. I did see some people debating whether they deserved silver here because of the number of mistakes they made. I would still, any day, put them above the Georgians. No offense to the Georgians. Well, no offense to one of the Georgians. Riku
and Ryuichi just have a level of skill through their basic skating and power that really is still, I think, unmatched in this field. Like, if I had to watch any team just go out there and do crossovers, it would be them. Like, they have that really strong classic pairs skill. And I think especially live, it really does show. I did want to give credit to the Georgians, though, for I'm trying to think which of their throws that it was, but they had a throw in their free skate that I was so impressed with the amount of speed that they went into it. It was like around the short end of the rink, and it was just like, you did not slow down at all. You had full confidence that was going to happen, and then landed with so much speed, and it was like...
Yeah, she has incredible speed on the landings of her throws. Yeah. It's insane. Like, I would actually say that's probably their best element. It's by far the most impressive in the field. I have been very critical of Luca's lift technique before. I do think that has gotten better. Mm-hmm. It used to be that he was very swingy and his footwork in it wasn't great. I was always worried about him dropping either Atlakina or his former partner. And I do think that has improved this year. I'm still not the biggest fan of him personally. But I'm still not the biggest fan of their short program. Mm-hmm. I feel like it's a gimmick. I'm not convinced I think it's fun to try different kinds of programs and do something interesting and fun. Whenever I see those costumes, I think this is a ripoff of Papadakis Cizeron's Fame.
Same.
Yep. I know the music's different, but it's just the same costumes, virtually the same colors. But yeah, I also agree they need to highlight Anastasia's personality more, because I think she has a lot to give. And I don't feel like that short program is convincing. So yeah, but they are technically a very strong team.
Also, big shout out for Rebecca and Filippo skating as well as they did here, given he's injured. They were both in the middle of switching their skates.
She was wearing two different skates. Like, oh my god.
Guys, you were the alternates. Was this really?
I know, please be prepared.
I mean, but also Italian nationals are the week after.
I
next.
know,
So
they're coming up soon, so I get it.
Not a good window of time for them really in this. And they had late Grand Prix. This is challenging from their perspective. Plenty of messiness as usual, but great throws. And I felt like they were. I would have liked to have seen them get a little bit higher PCS than they did here. I felt like they did come in lower than some of the other teams that I would have liked to see them not be lagging quite so much in that category as they have been put down.
Also, like, kudos to Ellie and Danny. I do feel like there's still a lot of progress being made in terms of their consistency. I think Ellie got the throws here. They weren't like the best throws in the world, but like they were being landed, and that is a step up from where we were this time like a year ago. And even like in Neverhorn. But yeah, they have such great like. They're great PCS skaters. They have great transitional content. They just look like they are fully committed to a program and telling a story, and that is what some other pairs teams lack. That's what makes them stand out in the field, and stand out as like the number one American team at this point. And they're very enjoyable to watch. So
they're going back to get, I think, some touch-ups to their free skate, and I think that I was just gonna give the opinion that I think that the middle section of it needs a little bit of work, because I always think I hate this opening music. I wish they were using Stand By Me for longer, and then the program starts and I'm like, oh, this doesn't bother me, and for the first like few elements I'm like, this is kind of it's fine, it's a little generic, but it's building. And then there's a point somewhere in the middle where I'm like, really, we're still in this music section? And then only like when they finish
this is me with Lila Lewis.
Stand By Me. And so I'm like, I'm not sure whether it's they could actually make a music adjustment at this point, or they just need to give me
something else in there. Yeah,
it's like it's also a rhythm thing. It's like there's I'm not putting my finger on it, other than that I think by the time the program is ending, I'm like, this is wonderful, and I think it's good at the beginning, and there's just a point in the middle where I'm like, you're doing all of the wonderful skating, but it's to a background that feels like elevator music to me, and I want there to be, I feel like they're better than that.
Yeah, I agree with Melissa that the world title is probably between Germany and Japan. I mean, Japan nearly won it last year. Had they not had the season they had with Ryuichi's back injury, they were nearly there. I mean, and Deanna and Max had the boost of Canada and home worlds. They were nearly there last year. If they can sort out the problems they're having this year and get more consistency, it's going to be quite the battle. But I do put the edge to Mini Nikki at this point, because they feel more consistent and the programs are so good. But yeah.
It's
More thoughts about
interesting though. I feel like that, the top, this is not necessarily going to be the top 6 at Worlds either. Like there's another, I'm
Yeah.
like, when I look at these fields, I'm like, there's another, 4 or 5 teams that could be there instead.
I mean,
and that's
Pavlo
kind of
versus Piachenko sort their shit out. They can easily slide in there. I think going into the Grand Prix this year, I thought they were probably going to make it into the final, but they had some inconsistencies, and that kind of ruined their. If you're not a strong PCS team yet, and I do think they've made strides there, but if you're not a strong PCS team yet, if you don't have that technical, you're at disadvantage.
Yeah.
Any more thoughts about pairs? Or should we move on?
We're pretty done.
We can move on.
Okay. So we have junior ice dance.
Junior ice dance.
In
This was such a
first place,
wholesome event.
Noemi Maria Tali and Noah Lafonara. In second place, Katarina Wolf-Kostin and Dmitry Tsarevsky. And in third place, Daria Grimm and Mikhail Savitsky. Yay. It's always exciting to see people who we had on our live and
friends of the stream, friends of the podcast.
Yes.
Also, they have improved so much since the coaching changes. They are so fast now. I don't know what Zani does that just because obviously the Czech teams are ridiculously fast as well. I don't know what he does to just does he just say like there's a bear running after them or something? Just go.
I know what I'm picturing right now. Them skating, being chased by the Toshlers around the rink until they skate faster.
It's a great image. The strides that Daria's made in terms of performance, she's having so much fun out there on the ice. I've never seen her more joyful. I love them.
I also have to say she felt like she was more confident on the live stream.
Oh, sure.
Even that, I already noticed that. It was so nice to see.
For sure.
Yeah, they were so good here in both of their programs. They were really the highlight for me of the whole event, even though not that I would disagree with the overall scoring here, but I just felt like in terms of performances that are memorable, I think we talked about this with them, but I think that their new rhythm dance is really fun and smart, and I like how it goes back and forth between multiple pieces. It's one of the things where I'm like, this was an odd set of musical choices, but it really works for me, and it keeps up its energy throughout it. And they seem like they're having so much fun. And then in this really intense free skate, I was thinking about this with junior dance and how, and sometimes this can be my problem with dance in general, is that when you start at a 100, if everything is the most dramatic, the most expressive, the most in love you've ever been, the most hard program, you're dying, there's nowhere to go. And so sometimes programs can feel like everything's at 100%. It's like that, show smile that is like, if you're already smiling as big as your face can go the whole time, there's nowhere to go. And so I was thinking about that with some of these programs and how I felt that way a little bit watching Katarina and Dmitry. Even though I like them, I felt like they didn't. This Moulin Rouge program was big and dramatic the whole time, and it didn't have any place where to develop because it was that way the whole time. And so I was really impressed watching how, looking at Daria and Mikhail's development of that program, that by the end, Daria is so intensely emoting. And I believe it. I feel like I've been on a journey with her because it doesn't seem like it is coming. It feels like it's coming from an internal place, not just I have been told that I need to have a face.
And yeah, trying to say for John Hanson, I was just scribbling with both programs, but also any slightest mistake that Selena makes, she blames herself. And I just felt so incredibly bad for them because obviously this was a home competition for them. It's their final year in juniors. They obviously wanted to medal here, and it didn't happen. And I really appreciate them as a team. I love their rhythm dance. I love the YMCA and everything in the Navy. I think it's a great great program for them. It's perfectly junior, but also shows off their skills. And yeah, it's very unfortunate. This is not like the second competition where I've seen like Selena like beating herself up in the kiss and cry and very upset, and it's very disheartening because they do work so well together as a team on the ice, and it's just like, yeah, I feel bad for them. It's also incredibly fun. I'm not talking about the podium, but we'll go back to that. The Ukrainian team are so much fun. I don't feel like necessarily their programs are, I think Mark mentions as well, necessarily like the best composition. But they sell the performance 100% every time. Like, and the fact that Artem was like winking at the camera, like in the corner of the board, I'm like, oh my god, nobody like acknowledges like the public like that. Like usually it's all about the judges. But yeah, it was awesome to see him like literally like winking at the camera. It's like, oh my god, dude.
I think that Noah and Noemi are so good. Seeing the improvement that they've made from already a really strong basis of skating skills and the lines that they have, gorgeous. I got a little bored in this free skate. But
they don't have the content that excites me the most.
Yeah.
But I can acknowledge how incredibly talented they are. And I'm still like waiting for an Italian team to like emerge as a true kind of like successor for Shani and Marco when they obviously end their careers at the end of next season. And there's going to be an opportunity there for somebody to be the second team. I've now read that Noah is working on his citizenship. I don't know how close he is to that because I think it's a little bit difficult, but obviously based on last name, he has ancestry.
Well, that's what I know this because I know some people who are trying to get Italian citizenship as like third generation Italian Americans right now. That it's like if you have a grandparent that was born in Italy, it's a lot easier. There may still be language requirements, but like it's a lot easier if you have that family link.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like the current number 2 right now is Manny Roethlisberger. I have not really seen that much of their programs this year. I don't think I've been that impressed with the scores they've been getting.
They have a Titanic program, and I like it.
Do they? Interesting. Yeah. I haven't seen it.
I really like them a lot as people, and I find them very enjoyable skaters to watch, but they are older and they have a lower ceiling in terms of like where they're likely to be able to get to, even though they have been making kind of very gradual improvement over time. And that's a very different position than this team is.
A couple of years ago, I thought like the next big thing in ice dance was going to be Portissi Peroni Trastecki. I really enjoyed that team, and then they obviously she had an injury, and then they split, and that retired, and that went by the wayside. And I also like I was saying this in the group chat. I also like Polina Tuba, but they got together pretty late. They only had the 1 year in juniors, and then he had the broken leg.
Yeah,
and so they missed Junior Worlds and all of that opportunity. Because I think they were pulling in similar scores to Tali Lafanara last season.
Yeah.
And then obviously Tali Lafanara were the team to go to Junior Worlds because there was no competition. They've had a fairly good first year in senior stuff. It's not been like incredible scoring or anything. Mezzaluna was an Italian competition, so it was very well scored. And then there's also Dozy Papetti, who I haven't watched a lot of the season, but I think they have a very interesting free dance, if I remember correctly.
I don't think I've seen them at all this year. I saw them in person at Autumn Classic last year, and I really enjoyed them. I mean, they're not at the same like at kind of a particularly high technical level at this point, but I found them. But I found them charming and and engaging to watch, and so I was like, okay, I want to see how they, being in a space where they're getting top level coaching, like how they can improve. So
exactly. So there's lots of like mid to lower ranked Italian teams, and no one's really emerged as a true successor yet. But with this success, you've got to imagine that Tali Lafanara are kind of going into their first senior season as a high potential for the second spot at the Olympics if Noah has citizenship sorted
Are there
out.
any Italian teams at this point? So, okay, this question. Does Barbara have any other teams? And also, does Zani have any Italian teams? Like, it just seems like funny to me that we
That
have so
seems
many
weird,
good
doesn't
Italian
it?
coaches.
She did have Potiti, Peroni, Trostecchi, but obviously they fell by the wayside. I don't know. Because obviously Tali Lafanara are predominantly coached in the US, I think, with the same coaches like Aboy and Veselukin.
And they have Walter Rizzo on their team too, I guess.
Yes, they do. I don't know.
So anyway, not not that we have to solve that problem now, but it is an interesting thing to think about, like that it's an odd thing to have really good dance schools based in Italy, but not have the developmental Italian teams training there.
Yeah. Zani had one last year. Yeah, that was that the one that had the Bosnian skater who couldn't get his release, and now he's skating with Maria Kezakova, as far as I'm aware.
Oh yeah. And what about the team that was at the Youth Olympics? Because they were novice.
Oh, the babies.
Yeah.
I don't know who they are with. I can have a look. Walter Rizzo is also on Galini Tuba's
okay.
coaching stuff as well as the babies as well. So yeah.
Okay, because I thought they all.
Walter Rizzo has just apparently got his hands in all of the junior and young.
Because
teams.
I follow Ice Lab on Instagram and I see which teams they kind of or say our teams that are competing this week. So I was like, I knew they had some ice dance teams.
But, yeah, they've got some of the juniors as well. Like, and there's also Noemi Tali's former partner, Frasca. He's got a new partner. And they've not been doing too badly in their first season together, as far as I know. They haven't done much, but they didn't do too badly recently, I don't think. So yeah,
we should talk about the seniors before we go even further down this rabbit hole of obscure Italian junior teams.
Obscure Italian teams.
I think it's Lois' turn.
Oh, is it my turn? Okay. In gold, we have Madison Schock and Evan Bates. In silver, we have Charlene Greenard and Marco Fabri. And in bronze, we have Lila Fear and Lewis Gibson. Wow, this was an event.
This sigh, I love that. Very dramatic.
I mean, we all know I have my thoughts on ice dance. But very unfortunate rhythm dance for Piper and Paul. Obviously, had that not happened, had it been a clean skate, they would have been silver here. I think that's very clear by the fact that they had the second highest free skate. But
I thought they looked tentative in this free skate compared to earlier in the season, and I was wondering if that was just this they've had a couple of free falls. They
look unsure of themselves now.
And as I said, I love their free skate. That is including its weird tango part. Like I'm 100% here for this free skate, but I feel like they need to skate it with that sense of like we're skating like no one's watching, like we're the best in the world, and we're just doing this because we love it. Like I need them to give it that kind of a feeling, and they seem to just that extra bit of cautiousness here, which again. Not surprising, but I hope they can lose that. And
they need a really good nationals to get them back on track.
Yeah.
They need the confidence boost that will give them. But it is very interesting to see Marjorie and Zach as the top Canadian team here. Obviously, it was like very close, but the fact that they were pulling in a free dance score that was literally neck and neck with Kate Gibson and Gwynnie Fabry is extremely interesting. More so of those other teams not getting a high score than them getting a particularly high score, but it's like they've just edged up and the others have come down a little bit. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I was thinking about that within that Canadian competition that, again, speaking free skates here, I think that Piper and Paul are making more interesting artistic choices with their programs, and Marjorie and Zach looked like better skaters.
I mean, I would say without a doubt, Marjorie and Zach are probably, in my opinion, the best skaters in this field. But that is not going to be how the scoring works because of hierarchy. I also am very impressed with the progress that Jenya and Jeffrey have made.
Yes.
Like, they did not look out of place in this final at all. Obviously, this is their first final, but I think, like, based on what they were saying in the mix zone, they were feeling stressed. Like, this was, a new thing for them to be here in this position, but they obviously expected to come last. I was not 100% convinced with their free dance at the beginning of the season, but I kind of get it now. And I think it suits them very well. I was comparing it in terms of like them and Green on February in that they both kind of took concepts sort of what they were thriving at in their exhibition galas last year. And one went in the direction of elevation and one went in the direction of why did you make this choice? But it's interesting to see kind of like how that trajectory has changed for both teams, and like one's become one of the top teams and one is struggling to stay a top team from all that. I mean, I do think while I'm still not, I would like them to change the robot program, Shani and Marco. It was good to see them regain their confidence. I think they were still a bit tentative when they were in China, and I think they feel a lot better about how they're going now. But I'm sick of seeing them get level 2s when I know they're capable of 3s and 4s. And that prior to like the last couple of like the levels is what kept them up there with the top teams, because they've never been scored very highly by the judges otherwise. It was the technical that was getting them up there, and to lose that edge is now dropping you back down into the rest of the field. So it's cool.
I was thinking about how Charlene and Marco, for a long time, I didn't love because I thought of them as being kind of gimmicky and I didn't take them seriously. And I feel like I'm remembering back to like, they didn't have a costume where like she had a dress with music notes on it. That's
probably
them, right?
I don't remember. Probably.
Okay. Like, I feel like, in previous cycles, I was sort of like, okay, whatever. I thought the program choices and what they were doing in the last 2 seasons made them seem so interesting and like, oh, you're adults. You have something to say. Like,
yeah.
And then that's where I feel like this free skate felt like a regression rather than feeling like you're being adventurous and you're pushing forward and you're pushing boundaries. It felt like a regression to gimmicky skating, not a like avant-garde thing, which is where I think Evgeny and Jeffrey
I think the problem there is that gimmicky skating is being rewarded with other teams.
Yes.
And that is the direction that the judging has gone in, to take away the real technical prowess of ice dance, to make everything choreographic with no levels and just massive GOEs. And they tried to do something that would fit into that box, and that's not the kind of team that they are.
Well, and so I don't disagree with anything you just said, Lois, but I think that I often don't recognize the technical prowess that they're giving. I think what I was responding to was the sort of storytelling and emotional beats and like choreographic intricacy, all of which I think could fit into this judging system, whether the judges are rewarding it or like, I don't think that part doesn't feel so much like a system problem to me as it is I question whether the judges have taste. This is my
yeah. That's always debatable.
And I feel like I'm gonna say this for I judge ice dance based on vibes. I like programs that can be gimmicky and silly if it seems like the team is embracing it and embracing the camp and having fun with it. I too often some of my favorite rhythm dances fall into that category. Like, fun and silly is great.
I mean, yeah, that's why we adore Orihara, you know.
Exactly. And I felt that way about the French rhythm dance this year. I felt it kind of falls into that category for me. There's a bunch of teams that are in that space. I was thinking about why I like Maddie and Evan's free dance this year better than almost any others that they've ever done. I like Piper and Paul's free dance this year. And I feel like with both of them, what I like is that they're giving me something that feels like it's not 100% served to me on a platter what I'm expected to feel about it and what it is. I'm thinking that you have a clear vision of something you're telling me, but I have to pay attention to figure out what it is. And I think that as a viewer, like, that sucks me in and makes me more interested than something that is in a free dance. Like, I think this goes back to what I was saying about the juniors and the, like, if you start at 100% emotion all the time, you've got nowhere to go. And so I don't know. I'm trying to make, basically what I'm saying here is I'm trying to treat ice dance like I would treat any other art form and make aesthetic judgments about it, which is not always fair to the skaters given the situation that they're in with the judging. But the skaters that I feel like do try to present something as artists, those are the people that are going to resonate with me, and the programs that are going to resonate with me.
Yeah. While I don't think I've enjoyed fully a Chuck and Bates free dance since their Fever program. I've seen people bringing that program up recently on social media, and I really enjoyed that program, their Elvis program, like back in the day or whatever. I have to admire that they made a mistake in the first competition of the year, and they have not faltered since. Whereas other teams who have made mistakes, it's thrown them. It's really thrown them off their edge. So like Green Up and Prix had that catastrophic France skate. They were still shaky in China. I still don't think the lift looked like it went up very well in this competition. It looks like a struggle, and I feel like they need to change that. And then obviously Piper and Paul started strong, made the mistake, and now they looked unsure in this competition. I have to give kudos to Chuck and Bates for not letting that fall bother them. Of course, I think they have a little bit more experience having untimely falls, but they know how to recover and to make it not impact them at, like, it isn't often in an element. Usually they just brush it off and carry on. So yeah, that's something the other teams need to, knowing how experienced the other teams are as well, they need to learn to water off a duck's back kind of thing. Just get on with it.
So any more thoughts on senior ice dance? Who have we not talked about? Have you talked about Lila and Lewis?
No.
Not a lot. I think I've said everything I need to say about their programs this season, but you know, they were shaky last year at the competition last year, and they were not shaky this year. So they managed to capitalize on others making mistakes and come home with a medal. So I still think they need to stop doing nationals when it's the week before the final. I feel like that puts you at a disadvantage. It wasn't as bad this year as it was last year, because I think they went from like China to the UK to China again or whatever, which is insane. Whereas this year they only had to go from home to France. But I do think, because other countries' nationals are all taking place after the Grand Prix final, those who were in the final. And I know you want to beat Torvill and Dean's record or whatever of number of national titles. I feel like you should be prioritizing international results over a domestic accolade like that.
Yeah, I mean, the way
I also worry about their scoring this year because, like, while they are winning stuff, the scores are not are painting a different picture. You are not getting closer to the top. In fact, Marjorie and Zach are getting closer to you. So yeah, it's. I still don't love the Halo section. I've said this several times. The rest of the program I think is good. It's just that section I don't feel like matches their style of skating, and it goes on too long. But yeah, that's just my opinion.
Yeah. My worry is that worry, I don't know if that's fair or not, but I think that the way things are going, they could just consistency skate into an Olympic medal. So
yeah, it's possible.
I mean, yeah.
I was
reading Daniel there. That their programs this season really show how much stronger Lewis is than Lila. He's getting interesting traditional moves. I feel like that's always been the case. I feel like they've always given him slightly more interesting transitional content because he's got like more experience as a solo skater. But I have been of the opinion maybe for the last season or two that his lift prowess, which he's always been one of the best lifters in the field, has gotten a bit worse. The lifts looking a little bit shakier. They're not quite as fast and precise as they have been. And maybe that's just coming with being older. Maybe there's been some back issues. Every team seems to have back issues at some point. But yeah, I feel like that's got slightly less skilled when it was like their best element for so long. But yeah, I think it took a dip last year and it's got a little bit better this year, but I still see blips here and there in the lifts that I think, that's a bit dangerous.
Yeah.
I just noticed that he is 30.
Yeah.
When did that happen?
When did that happen? Exactly. Because like when we like first started paying attention to him, like he was the age that like Lila is now.
Crazy.
I know. These things are funny. It's like some teams I'm like very aware of their ages and their relative ages and everything, and other teams I'm just like, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah, because like Michael Parsons also getting up there, and it still feels like not that long ago that he was like winning junior worlds or whatever with his sister, and like he's like also like pushing 30.
Yeah.
Crazy. Anything else? Any more thoughts?
It's okay. Marco Fabri's still older than I am, so there.
Yeah. While there's still people older than us in the sport, that's fun.
Yeah. What was your highlight overall?
Ooh.
Let's end this on a nice note.
Oh, good call.
It is an interesting question.
All right.
I think the women's free skate, just the vibes.
Yeah.
Amber winning and everyone supporting her and the adorableness in the green room or whatever. It was so feel good.
The whole competition. Daniel was asking whether I stands or the entire competition, but I was thinking like everything. But Laura was saying Amber.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was torn between Amber winning and the general like good vibes, and just I think I love when I get to watch a competition and feel like all 6 of these skaters are great and I'm enjoying them and I could be happy with the podium in any order, and then also I'm very happy with the winner. So that was a great thing. But honestly, I feel like Daria and Mikkel, and especially like both programs, but especially I just thought they looked so good. Got the free. I'm gonna say they looked so good in their rhythm dance.
Yeah, I was very impressed.
I was really impressed, and I also was just like, way to do something that is interesting and compelling out of what could be just yet another disco program, yet another whatever. And I feel like they like brought me with them on every change of the music, everything that was in there. I kind of forgot that I was watching. Here are the 5 elements that everybody's going to do, that they're the same elements. And that's a big compliment for a rhythm dance, I think.
Yeah, that's a big one for me as well, Miriam, with Roman and Lucas's Prix. Yeah, it's one I keep thinking about and coming back to in my head as just like a great moment from that competition.
Yeah.
So I think those were the final thoughts on the Grand Prix, and we can go on to fantasy.
Also, Daria almost knocking Mikhail over, giving him a hug after the free skate. That made me laugh, and it was very cute.
Ah, fantasy. I will always say I'm always terrified that I did some miscalculation, but I hope not.
And I just realized what time it is, and I'm really sorry, but I have to jump before the fantasy. Yes. So
bye. Lois and I, we can do it. Bye. Thank you. Okay, we got this. So yeah, I remembered we have a logo, so I used the logo.
I was gonna say, like, I don't got this. This is the worst I've ever done.
A lot of people got women right. Yeah, if you are on this list, congratulations. This is the Grand Prix final, and then afterwards we will.
I just saw the name Bolero, but Glee version, and why would you put that thought into my head?
Oh no. Men. Some people got it right.
Men were men.
Congratulations to those. I'm always looking whether I recognize any names.
We know the White Ship disaster very well.
Yeah. Flop-to-Z skating for me personally this time.
I agree with you, Laura. I've been freaking terrible this year.
Lois has been so bad. It's usually
this is the worst I've ever done. I'm usually pretty good. I'm usually up there. I've been terrible.
But yeah, and then we have pairs, which of course was a bit messy. Thanks everybody for the quick
change around. I don't know. Yeah, because we just put it out, and then 2 hours later, Deanna and Max withdrew.
And then Lois took a nap.
I was having a nap at the time, and then I'm coming back to like, we need to change around. So I'm like, oh my god, kill me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had to rearrange the groups, which is the most annoying thing as well, is when you can't just take. Sometimes you can just take a team out and replace it with another team, but this I had to reconfigure the groups because it didn't make sense to have things set up the way it was before. So
Johnny said he was undone by Grasser. I think it's very funny thing to say. And yeah, pairs here going on. Got no clue about figure skating. Same, and somehow I'm here. And they won pairs.
And they won.
Yeah. And ice dance. It seemed to be pretty predictable because we got a lot of winners. Did you get highest or not, Lois?
I don't even know. I don't even know what I did. I did my votes really early, and I didn't change anything apart from when we changed the pairs, and I don't remember what I did.
Okay, and the overall, yeah, there we go. Congratulations.
Schleppsmoken. That's a great name. Oh my god. I still love a bridge ski over troubled water. That's a great name. I'm not Bolero, but Glee version. They're back. They're back again.
You got 2 out of 4. Damn. And yeah, now we go on.
So I have to point out the name Bockenspiel. It's a great name. It's a great name.
Oh, you are
great.
Very good name. I didn't know that. It's a great name. Okay, and now we are at the time where I reveal the podiums. The overall podiums. Overall Grand Prix final, because it's the end of fantasy already, which is very sad. the fantasy skating men podium. We have in third place Ulrich Sagcho, Let's Fight. I don't know what's
He's
your
dead.
problem.
He can't fight you. Well, because the Salkos are always a mess. But he can't fight you. He's dead.
I mean, I'm sure there are options. And
fight
then
his ghost.
Caro Yuna Mao is in second place. And in first place, we have Girl Bosses, which
Girl bosses winning the men podium is great.
I love that. And these are the top 10. Congratulations if you made it.
Delusional? You were not that delusional.
No, you did very good. Yeah, that was men. Now let's go to women podium. In third place, we have Presley Peck and Avid ISU Denier. I love how many, like, we have a lot of shared podiums this year, which I'm surprised because it's like 6 competitions. How does this work? But you did it. Twizzling Titans is in second place. And the Little Fishies.
That's a very cute name.
Where did I just see that?
I don't know.
I just saw that on Twitter. What was the connection? Somebody put it in the comments if they know the connections to the Little Fishies. What was it?
I have no idea.
I mean, my entire For You page has been Luigi, so I don't think it's Luigi.
How did Luigi get into our stream?
I wanted to mention him the entire time. I was like,
you wanted to mention Luigi the entire time. How did Luigi get into the stream?
And this is the top 10. Congratulations again. Yeah, I don't see.
You're on for it.
Oh, Thomas.
Hey, Glockenspiel's here. Well, not Luigi. Yeah, Luigi. How many names are we gonna have next year with Luigi in it?
I was just thinking that would be a great name. And yeah, pairs podium. Let's see. This one is great because we have no third place because we have 4 second places. You look like Isabeau in the slide. Remarkable.
I love the Taylor Swift reference. I love it.
Juna Bauer and June OGM 2026.
It's ironic that there are 2 John relations, and poor John did not make the final because
I did not know that was a Taylor Swift reference. Now I know.
You look like Isabeau in the slide. Remarkable. Yeah, it's you look like oh my god, Clara Bow in this light. Remarkable.
And the first place is Triple Axel 78. Thank you so much, Triple Axel 78, because I think for a while we had a bunch of people in first place. And
they went ahead.
One winner. Thank you. And this is the top 10. I did top 11 because obviously a bunch of people had the same score. Again, do not know how that works. But good for you. And I stance. We have LMAO Asada.
Wow.
Well, that's El Mayo Asada. Mm-hmm.
Well, it's like El Mayo and then Mao Asada. It's hilarious.
And here for the chaos.
Here for the chaos.
I'm always here for the chaos. Love it. Always. That's why I mentioned Luigi. And Rika Kihira is in second place.
I won't make the comment I wanted to make, which this is the only way Rika Kihira is going to be in the Grand Prix at this point.
Oh, that's so mean.
Hopefully. I know it's mean. She did a tweet today saying she's still hoping to get the comeback, and we all hope for that as well with her.
And Team Purple Cat is in first place for Ice Dance. Congratulations. And Laura made it. Laura S. made it into top 10 pairs. Yay! And this is the top 10. Yeah. Jumping beans.
Don't even know. I doubt that very much. It seems like you do know.
Yeah, a couple of people do know. Congratulations to you guys. And now we are at the overall podium. Ulrich Salcho, Let's Fight, is in third place. Congratulations.
I think you won the fight.
Skating for Soup. I don't argue with that. Skating for Soup, yeah. And origami is in first place. Woo! You won fantasy this
Yay!
year. Yay! You get nothing but bragging rights.
Yeah, we have merch, which was like I participated in fantasy skating and all I got was this T-shirt, or all I got was this sticker. So if you want to head on over to our Redbubble, you can buy one of those.
And if you are origami and you message us, we will send you one. We have we have like a little bit of leftover money. I will send you some merch. If you can prove that you are origami. And this is the top 10. Again, there are two people who have the same score. Triple Axel and Rika Kihira. How did you do
How the
that?
hell did you manage that over 6 weeks? Seven including the final.
I'm so confused. Mark Henry pointed toes.
Not Grandpa's strawberry dessert making it into the top 10.
Oh, happy skating. Happy. Congratulations.
Yay.
Yay. I'm happy when people recognize themselves now in the chat. Because Lois and Sarah did not do well this year.
Oh no, I
Again.
was terrible.
But yeah, I think that's it. That's the last slide. I will upload all of the results either tomorrow or on Thursday. We also have Junior Grand Prix, of course. The results are going up as well. And I think a lot of people won that because it's a smaller field.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's it. That was fantasy skating. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Sorry for the errors.
The technical difficulties and everything.
We hopefully will fix it.
We will not have that problem next year.
It's like every year there's a tiny bit of a problem. I think last year we didn't have any problems and I was confused.
Yeah, we were like, there's no issues. It's all going swimmingly. And then this year it was like, I can't do my vote. And we're like, why?
Yeah, and that was every time. So I'm so sorry to those who couldn't vote. If the problem is there next year, just message us. It's annoying for us, but it's okay. It's not annoying that you're messaging us. It's annoying that there's a problem.
It's annoying to do it manually, but we can do it. So like we can accommodate you. We probably had a couple of dozen people contact us this year saying they had issues. So,
and we would rather do the extra work than you not being able to play, because I know it's like I assume it's fun. I only do the math now, and I hope I don't fuck anything up. But yeah, this is the result. Congratulations to everybody. Congratulations to the top 10, to origami. And
as far as I'm aware, this is probably our last stream of the year. I don't think we have anything planned at this point, but we will see.
Might be a Christmas one with the.
We did a Japanese nationals last year, but I don't think we have it planned this year yet. We might. We will see how that goes.
If not, happy holidays to those.
If not, happy holidays if we don't see you again. This has been lovely talking to you all. If you'd like to talk to us other than this, like I said, we have a Discord where we talk to the people there. You can get in there for the lowest tier on our Patreon, I think, which is the novice tier. Also $1,
€1, something like that.
Whatever it is. Merry Festiveness. There will be a really interesting article coming out this week that Izumi has written, which I just need to finish up.
Yes, check that out. That's
a lot of work. She's put a whole lot of work on that. So yeah, it's going to be really interesting to read. Don't know if we have anything else in the pipeline. I think there's probably still some interviews in the backlog that Anna did during the summer that have not gone up yet. But yeah, it's been a pleasure and a joy to talk to you all.
And we'll try to some comments before we leave. Yes.
We will see you all again soon. Yeah. Follow us on all the other places. If you are sick of X / Twitter, we are on Blue Sky. We have Threads, which we don't. I update all of them. I don't put. I used to just put everything on the Twitter and do some things on the others. Now I do everything on the Twitter and the Blue Sky and some things on the Threads. Because it's not very communicative over there. Like nobody's kind of like It's not really a community on the Threads, which is a shame. There's a lot of followers over there, but not very communicative. If you don't follow us on Instagram, please do. We are about to hit 4,000.
Oh. And if you don't follow us on
Hopefully.
here, follow us.
Yes, please like and subscribe here.
Yeah. And I think we promote everything we could promo. And I hope if you don't see each other this year, see you next year.
We will be back.
We will be back. Yeah, I think that's it. Bye-bye.
Bye.